Welcome back to the deep dive, everyone. This is where we really get into the weeds, pull out the actionable stuff.
Exactly, cutting through the noise.
And today, we're diving into something I think, well, basically everyone struggles with at some point. It's that challenge of sticking with something, specifically learning a language.
hmm That feeling of overwhelm.
Totally. Like,
Yeah.
you should be studying for hours, but life happens, right? You've got maybe 10 minutes between things.
Or you just feel buried under all the apps and methods and advice.
Yeah, that information overload is real. So
No. Yeah.
if that sounds like you, if you've got the guilt but not the hours, this deep dive, it's definitely for you.
We're aiming to sort of flip the script on that feeling of, always being behind.
Right.
We want to dismantle that. It's about moving away from those big, heavy study sessions.
Which often lead to burnout anyway.
Precisely.
Yeah.
We're shifting towards something more organic, more integrated into daily life. It's not about magically finding extra hours.
It's about using the minutes you already have, but smarter.
Using that time productively, yes.
Okay, so let's unpack the source material we're digging into today. It sounds like it offers a really practical path forward.
It really does. It lays out 10 very specific and importantly short daily practices. The whole idea is weaving English learning into your life almost without noticing.
Micro habits, that's the term, right?
That's the core concept.
Yeah.
Tiny changes, minimal time needed each day, but they add up. The cumulative effect over weeks, months, that's where the power is.
So our mission today is basically to explore these 10 habits, understand how they work, why they work.
Exactly. We need to get into the mechanics, the psychology behind them. It's all built on this philosophy that, honestly, consistency trumps everything.
Even if it's just like 2 minutes a day.
Especially then, those tiny, consistent efforts beat those huge, rare study marathons that just exhaust you.
Yeah.
We need to understand the leverage these small actions have.
And here's the part that really jumps out for you, the listener. The goal isn't just studying English anymore.
No, it's about shifting into living in English, even in small ways.
Using those little pockets of time, waiting for the kettle, on the bus, stirring pasta.
Turning that dead time into active learning time. Linguistic real estate, as you called it.
Huh, yeah. So by the end of this, the idea is you'll have these 10 tools, but also understand why they're effective. Absolutely. Knowing the why helps you adapt them, make them stick. So let's dive in. First stop, rewiring the brain's internal chatter. Okay, section 1, changing our internal landscape. Habit 1, the source, calls this one potentially life-changing. It's thinking in English.
This is about shifting your internal dialogue. It sounds simple, but it's probably the biggest hurdle for intermediate learners.
You mean that constant translation thing that happens in your head?
Exactly that loop. You have a thought in your native language, then you mentally translate it, then you try to speak it in English.
Which feels slow and clunky.
It creates huge cognitive drag, slows you down, tires you out.
So habit 1 is about cutting out that middleman, the translation step.
Precisely. Instead of thinking about the world and then translating, you just describe directly in English. Even simple stuff.
Like internally narrating, okay, the traffic light is red, or I need more coffee.
I'm thirsty. I should probably buy milk later. That kind of thing. Little observations about your immediate environment or state.
And this uses that dead time, again, perfectly. You're cooking. Instead of thinking the recipe steps in your first language, you try, okay, chopping onions now, need to turn up the heat. Hope this tastes okay.
Yeah. The source is clear. It feels weird at first. Awkward, maybe even forced.
Because you're not used to it.
It's a mental muscle. You haven't flexed that way.
Yeah.
But the beauty is the stakes are absolutely zero. It's all internal. So it gets easier faster than you'd think. Okay, zero stakes, I get that. But here's a question I bet listeners might have. If I'm just thinking to myself, aren't I potentially just practicing my own mistakes? Like reinforcing bad grammar with no correction? That's a really important question.
Right.
A fair challenge. The answer's a bit nuanced. At this specific stage, with this specific habit, the main goal isn't perfect accuracy. It's about building fluency and speed.
Right. Breaking the translation habit first.
Yes. You're training your brain to connect concepts directly to English words, bypassing the detour through your native language,
Yeah.
building that fluency muscle.
So the idea is worry about refining the grammar later with other habits.
Exactly. We'll get to habits focused on output and feedback. For now, it's about reducing that cognitive load, that hesitation, so when you do speak or write, it flows a bit more easily.
Okay, that makes sense. Get the engine hunting smoothly before you fine-tune it, like that anecdote in the source about using it for Spanish on the subway. Just simple observations. Estoy en el metro. Hay mucha gente. I'm on the metro. There are a lot of people. Little snippets, but constant practice. So the challenge is try it today, just for 2 minutes. See how it feels. Great starting point. Now, habit 2 complements this beautifully. Listen while you live. Ambient exposure. So if habit 1 is internal output, this one's about constant, easy input.
Exactly. Surrounding yourself with the sounds of English, passively.
Like having podcasts, music, maybe YouTube videos playing in the background while you do other things.
Yes, crucially, while multitasking.
Yeah.
Washing dishes, folding laundry, walking the dog, commuting.
And the key is passive listening, not like intense study where you pause and look up every word.
Correct. You don't need to understand everything. The goal is creating this sound blanket of English.
A sound blanket, I like that.
It lets your brain subconsciously absorb the rhythm, the intonation, the common phrases, how words chunk together naturally.
Without you actively straining to catch it all.
Right. It leverages the power of repetition without conscious effort. You might hear a phrase you sort of know while cooking.
And then you hear it again on your walk, and again while tidying up, and maybe the 10th time, your brain just clicks. Oh, that's what that means. So it helps solidify things you've maybe learned elsewhere, but haven't quite locked in.
Precisely. It reinforces vocabulary and structures through repeated low-stress exposure. It moves things from short-term recognition to longer-term storage almost automatically. Max quantity of input. Okay, makes sense. So the third habit in this rewiring section is habit 7. Change your phone language. Seems super simple. It's brilliantly simple but effective. Maybe takes 30 seconds to set up.
And the idea is constant, forced mini immersion.
Pure utility vocabulary immersion. Think about how many times a day you interact with your phone.
Dozens. Hundreds, maybe.
And each time, you're forced to read basic, high-frequency words in English. Settings, notifications, battery low.
Update available, connect to Wi-Fi. Yeah, stuff you need to understand.
These aren't obscure words, they're functional. You're not trying to study, you're just trying to use your phone. That necessity cuts through any lack of motivation.
The interface itself demands you interact in English.
It's fantastic for picking up that kind of practical contextual vocabulary really fast. But there's a big warning attached.
Okay. What's the catch? The source material is very clear on this. Don't make the switch right before you need your phone for something urgent or stressful, like if you're rushing and need the map right now.
Exactly. Or trying to quickly find an important email or photo. That initial slowdown while you figure out the new menu labels can be really frustrating under pressure.
Good tip. So pick a relaxed moment, maybe a weekend morning.
Perfect. Give yourself a little time to just tap around and explore the new settings without any pressure.
Okay, so that covers the internal shifts in input. Thinking, listening, and tweaking the environment. Now, what about actually producing the language?
Right. Section 2 is all about building that mechanical fluency, the actual output. Because you can absorb all you want, but if you never use it.
You hit that plateau, that fear of actually speaking or writing. Precisely. So habit 3 tackles writing consistency in a really clever way. The 3-line journal. 3 lines. That's it.
That's the genius. It prevents burnout. Writing a full page daily, that feels daunting.
Yeah, I'd probably skip days or weeks.
Most people would. It creates a psychological barrier. Your brain sees big tasks and thinks maybe later, but 3 sentences.
Feels trivial.
Almost dismissively easy. And that's the key. That triviality makes it easy to build an unbreakable daily habit loop.
So just 3 sentences about your day every day. Maybe before bed.
Perfect time. Keep it simple. Met my friend today. We had pizza. It was good.
Laughed a lot. Felt happy. Doesn't need to be poetry.
Not at all. The benefit isn't literary greatness. It's the consistent mechanics. Every night, you force your brain into retrieval practice.
Actively pulling out words, structuring sentences.
In a low-pressure way. And because it's written, you often naturally reread it, maybe spot a typo or a slightly awkward phrase, and self-correct. That reinforces accuracy over time, gently.
But I have to push back a bit, only 3 lines. Is that really enough to see, like actual improvement in grammar or sentence structure? Isn't volume usually key?
It's the right question. And if the goal was perfect essays in a month, then no, 3 lines wouldn't cut it. But that's not the primary goal here.
Okay, so what is the primary goal?
2 things. First, building the habit. Making sure you do something 365 days a year. Consistency is king. Second, forcing that daily retrieval.
Just pulling the information out.
Yes. Short, consistent retrieval is incredibly powerful for memory consolidation. Much more so than one massive effort followed by silence. Over 6 months, writing 3 lines every day, You will naturally start using more complex sentences, better vocabulary. The consistency drives the growth.
And the source mentioned a motivational aspect, too, looking back.
Oh, definitely. Seeing those early entries may be simple, a bit clunky, embarrassing, but motivating, as the source puts it.
Provides concrete proof you've actually improved.
Tangible progress is the best fuel. You could literally scroll back and see your vocabulary expanding, your sentences getting smoother. It keeps you going. Okay, I'm sold on the 3 lines. What's next for output? Habit 4, reading aloud. Yes, this bridges that gap between silent understanding and actually speaking.
How does reading out loud help specifically?
It's crucial for pronunciation and confidence. When we read silently, we often impose our native language's rhythm and sounds onto the English words in our head.
Right, you might not even realize you're doing it.
Reading aloud forces you to engage with the actual sounds, the stresses, the pauses, the melody of English, what linguists call prosody.
And you can read anything, right? News articles, subtitles.
Book chapters, song lyrics, singing totally counts, the source says. Even just reading your 3-line journal entry from the night before.
Singing sounds fun. Less pressure.
Absolutely. But let's dig into the why a bit more. It's about building mouth memory.
Mouth memory.
Think of it as a physical workout for your mouth, tongue, and jaw. You're training those muscles to make English sounds that might not even exist in your native language, like the.
Ah, so practicing the physical movements.
Yes, making them faster, more accurate, more automatic. Every time you practice saying through correctly or blending going to into gonna, you're reducing the physical awkwardness.
So the less weird it feels physically to say a word in private.
The less likely you are to hesitate or stumble over it in a real conversation. It removes that little physical barrier, that self-conscious pause.
It becomes automatic, part of your motor skills.
Precisely.
Ah.
Which leads us perfectly into habit 6, which really amps up that mouth memory training. Shadowing.
Yeah.
Shadowing. And I've heard of this. It sounds intense.
It is. It's a high-intensity repetition technique. You listen to a native speaker, maybe a podcast you like, a short YouTube clip, even a movie scene.
And you repeat exactly what they say, as they say it, in real time, or as close as you can get. The focus is obsessive mimicry. Tone, accent, speed, pauses, even the volume shifts.
Wow. The source admits this feels chaotic at first, right? Like you're constantly falling behind.
Totally chaotic initially. You feel like you're chasing them, you miss words, you stumble. It can feel awkward.
So how do you actually do it effectively without just getting frustrated?
The goal isn't perfect comprehension at this stage. It's about flow and articulation. So start short, maybe just a 30-second audio clip. And use tech. Slow the audio down slightly, maybe to 0.75x speed, if your player allows it.
Ah, okay. Make it manageable. And focus on 2 things specifically. 1, the prosody, the music of the speech, the ups and downs. 2, the reduced sounds, how native speakers squish words together. Like not saying, I am going to buy a car, but mimicking the sound of, I'm going to buy a car.
Exactly. You're training yourself to produce those natural contractions and reductions. By trying to keep pace, even imperfectly, you train your brain to retrieve and articulate much faster. It boosts fluency dramatically.
It's like forcing your mouth and brain to work at native speed.
It's an immersive workout. 5 minutes a day can be enough because it's quite demanding.
The source had that funny analogy, karaoke, but for your English brain.
Huh. Yes, it captures that feeling of trying to keep up, but it also hints it could be tiring.
Yeah, so how often should you do it to get the benefit without burning out?
And that brings us back to the micro-habit core idea, not 30 minutes straight like real karaoke. The sources suggest short, sharp bursts.
Like 5 to 7 minutes?
Yeah, maybe 3 or 4 times a week. Because it is intense, that short burst is often more effective than a longer, dragging session. It makes the practice stick without causing fatigue.
All right, so we've got input covered and now output mechanics. What's next? Putting it all together.
Exactly.
Section 3 is about active application and growing your vocabulary, making sure the knowledge actually gets used and sticks. Starting with habit 5, a classic. 1 new word a day. 1 word a day. Sounds simple, but the math is compelling, right?
Fantastic motivation. 1 word daily is 365 words in a year. That's a serious boost, enough to move way past basic conversations into more nuanced territory.
It makes the huge task of learning vocabulary feel manageable, just 1 a day.
Turns overwhelm into a simple daily action. But there's a catch.
Always a catch. Just memorizing the word isn't enough.
We know that, right? You can memorize a dictionary definition of 365 words and still blank when you try to use them. So what's the secret ingredient?
Okay, what is it? How do you make it usable knowledge?
The secret is contextual application. You have to actively use the word, connect it to something meaningful to you, leverage your episodic memory.
Episodic memory,
Okay.
like memory tied to experiences.
Exactly. The source mentions the rule of 7, this idea that you need to encounter and, crucially, use a word multiple times in different contexts for it to really lock into long-term memory.
So if my word for the day is, let's say, ephemeral, it's not enough to just know it means short-lived.
Correct. You need to apply it actively.
Yeah.
Create a sentence that links it to your life, your feelings, your environment. Like maybe I see the steam rising from my morning coffee and I think, or even write down, this warmth is ephemeral. Perfect. You've connected ephemeral to a visual, steam, a sensation, warmth,
Yeah.
a specific time, morning. You've tagged it emotionally and contextually.
Boom. Locked in better than just a definition.
Much better. And notice how habits can start to weave together here.
Yeah. I learned ephemeral today.
Tomorrow,
Mm.
you consciously try to use it in your internal narration habit 1.
Or maybe jot it down in my 3-line journal habit 3.
Exactly. Reinforcing it across different channels, thought, writing, visual context. You're making the learning active, creative, connected, not passive.
Okay, that makes sense. Next up, habit 8. This one sounds a bit like habit 1, but different, talking to yourself.
Similar concept, but more structured. Habit 1 was spontaneous internal narration. Habit 8 is about using alone time for more deliberate, simulated conversation.
Okay. Practice for actual talking.
It's absolute gold for speaking practice. Why? Because it removes the pressure.
No fear of judgment, no awkward pauses while you search for a word with someone waiting.
None of that. It's a safe space to practice structuring longer thoughts.
So this is where I might rehearse explaining my plans for the evening. Okay, first I'm going to chop the vegetables, then I'll...
Yeah, saute the garlic. Wait, what's the word for saute again? And you can look it up right then, no pressure. Or you could practice summarizing a movie you watched, or rehearse a little conversation you expect to have later.
Like ordering coffee or asking for directions?
Basic exchanges, yes. You let your brain freely assemble sentences, make mistakes, back up, correct yourself, all without the social anxiety kicking in.
Training the fluency muscle in private.
Yeah.
Okay. And the source had a funny tip if you get caught talking to yourself. Yes, the perfect lighthearted excuse. Oh, sorry, just rehearsing for my podcast. Blame the podcast. Love it. Okay, last one in this section. Habit 9, engage with English online.
This moves the application into a real social and cultural space.
So going beyond just passively watching Netflix or scrolling social media.
Exactly. It's about making your online consumption active. Follow creators who speak English, yes, but then actually engage.
Like actually joining comment sections, writing replies.
Or even making short posts yourself in English, maybe about your hobbies or interests.
Why is that interaction so important?
Because you're suddenly swimming in authentic, natural language.
Mhm.
Slang, idioms, cultural references, stuff TAC books rarely capture effectively.
You see how native speakers actually talk to each other online?
And you're producing language for a real, even if small, audience. That adds a layer of purpose. Plus, the source highlights something specific here.
Humor. The meme thing.
Yes, the surprising power of memes for language learning.
Okay, explain that. How do silly internet pictures help you learn English?
Because humor grabs attention and provides intense context. Memes are usually short, packed with natural current language, often puns or cultural wordplay.
And because it's funny, you actually pause to figure it out.
Exactly. You dwell on the phrasing to understand the joke. That effort, combined with a positive emotion of amusement, helps lock the language and its context into your memory.
It's sneaky learning.
Playful, efficient, and you're engaging with current culture at the same time. Effortless absorption of language patterns.
Wow, okay. 9 habits down. Input, output, application. Seems comprehensive, but there's one more. The crucial 10th habit. The one that ties it all together and keeps the engine running. Reflect weekly. The feedback loop. Precisely. The source is adamant. Without this, the whole system can kind of fizzle out. It's about metacognition, thinking about your thinking, or thinking about your learning in this case.
Yes. Once a week, just 5 minutes, that's all. Deliberately pause and ask yourself 2 key questions.
Which are?
What did I actually learn this week? Not just did I do the habit, but what content stuck? And second, what new words or phrases did I actually use?
Okay, but why is that better than just, say, ticking off a checklist? Yep, did my 3 lines. Yep, listen to a podcast.
Because checking a box just confirms activity. Reflection provides data for optimizing your process and, crucially, for motivation.
How does it help motivation?
When you're doing these tiny habits, 2 minutes thinking, 3 lines writing, the progress feels, well, tiny. almost invisible day to day.
Yeah, you might not feel like you're leaping forward.
Reflection makes the incremental progress visible. If you look back and realize, hey, I used that word ephemeral 3 times this week without thinking, that's a huge win.
Or you realize, I only used it once. Need to focus on that next week.
Exactly. It gives you concrete evidence. Or you listen back to a voice recording you made while reading aloud, habit 4, or talking to yourself, habit 8.
And compare it to one from last month.
Yes. And you hear the difference. Your rhythm is smoother, you're speaking faster, more confidently. That objective proof of improvement, that's rocket fuel for motivation.
It validates all those little efforts.
It proves the system is working, which brings us back to that core philosophy.
Celebrate small wins. Every word, every sentence matters.
If you managed your 3 lines every single day, that's a victory worth acknowledging. Much more valuable than trying some huge complex task and giving up after 2 days. So the whole cycle. Input feeds output, application cements it, and reflection refines and motivates. It's a virtuous circle, driving continuous, sustainable progress.
Okay, so that's the toolkit. 10 micro habits. We went from internal stuff like thinking in English and ambient listening,
To the mechanics of the 3-line journal and reading aloud or shadowing.
then applying it with new words, talking to yourself, engaging online.
And wrapping it up with that crucial weekly reflection. The big message woven through it all from the source material. Consistency beats perfection. Forget the marathon sessions. Focus on the daily steps. Absolutely. Start small. Stay persistent. The fluency will build naturally from that foundation. So, for you listening, the encouragement is, don't try to do all 10 tomorrow. Pick one, just one, the easiest one that appeals to you. Maybe it's just changing your phone language today.
Or committing to 2 minutes of thinking in English while you brush your teeth. Start there, build momentum, add another habit only when the first feels automatic.
It's the cumulative power. These tiny actions stack up over time to create real, significant change.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, you always leave us with something to chew on. What's the provocative thought for this week?
Well, think about this. We've just explored how 10 tiny, consistent habits can basically rewire your brain to integrate something as complex as language learning into daily life, almost seamlessly.
Right.
Minimal time, maximum consistency. So the question is, what else could this principle apply to? What other huge goals or complex skills, maybe learning to code, finally getting that consistent fitness routine, picking up a musical instrument, things that seem overwhelming?
Could you break down and master using this exact same micro-habit architecture? Minimal time, maximum consistency. Maybe the structure of learning itself is more universal than we think.
That's definitely something to mull over, applying micro-habits beyond just language.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Something to explore.
All right, thank you for that deep dive, really practical stuff today, and thank you all for joining us.
Keep learning, keep diving deep. Until next time.